And now, from the Room 111 studios, it's Hacking Engagement with James Sternovich.
Hey, welcome back, listener, to the Hacking Engagement podcast. I'm so glad you're here. You know, it's funny. I've been taping these episodes the last couple weeks, and I've been taping these fascinating individuals, and my episodes have been getting a little long. So I really wanted to do a tight, short episode this week. And man, this is a great one. You see, here's the thing. I love messing around with tech tools in class, but I'm always disappointed when I try something and it's a hassle to use or the kids don't seem to like it. And what I did was I used this tool this week called Flipgrid. And I was conducting a professional development conference this past summer in Fort Worth, Texas. And one of the attendees said, "Hey, Jim, you got to try this new tool called Flipgrid." And I was like, okay, sounds good. Kind of forgot about it for a few weeks. And then I just heard someone mention Flipgrid when I got back to school. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got to try that. And then last week, for some odd reason, I said, dang it, I'm going to try it. I'm going to quit thinking about it and try it. And so I tried it, and it's easy. It's easy, and it's fun, and the students catch on intuitively, and it frees that creative, or lets those creative juices flow in those youngins. So I'm all about this little tool called Flipgrid. But I can sit here and talk about Flipgrid, and which I'm obviously doing right now, but it has more power if one of my amazing original sources comes on and talks about their experiences using Flipgrid. And I've got one of those original sources. It's Aharon Rockwell, and he is a character. He's awesome. And he's going to go on here and rap about this. And I think you guys are going to get a big kick out of it. I'll have some links on the show notes about it. You got to try this tool. It's easy. Allison
Truex to the main office, please. Allison Truex to the main office.
It's easy to use, and the kids will find it a lot of fun. That's a great combination. And one thing that I want to add before I get started is, in last week's episode, I was talking to Chrissy Romano, and I was talking about introverts. And she brought up the tool Flipgrid and how Flipgrid might be a little overwhelming for an introvert. Well, guess what? I had a question in which the students were to interview someone that they know, and they were to ask them two questions. Do you know a Muslim? And is Islam a religion of peace? So you can have introverted students go out and interview someone else. They don't have to be the star of the show. Don't let that keep you from using this awesome tool. Buckle up, man. You're going to love this episode. Hey, so get this, listener. My publisher contacts me and says, I love the way Hacking Engagement is selling. How about doing 50 more? I was all over it like a cheap suit. So the name of the book is Hacking Engagement Again, 50 Teacher Tools That Will Make Students Love Your Class. And it's going to be available on Amazon's virtual shelves in the late summer of 2017. In the meantime, if you're looking for more teacher empowerment resources, as always, visit hacklearning.org. Now let's get back to the solutions part of the Hacking Engagement podcast. Okay, so here we are in the Room 111 studios, and I'm sitting with one of our amazing original sources. It's good to have the kids back on, and this is a great kid. This is Aharon Rockwell. Say good day, sir.
Hey, good day, sir.
But you know what, man? I'm not going to call Aharon by his real name, which, by the way, hold on. I got to tell you this. You spell Aaron's name how? Hit it.
I spell my name Aharon.
Okay, now I started to come on this program today, and I wanted to make sure I didn't misspell that, but I've got to know why the H in Aharon.
Because my mom's name is Sharon, and we're like, let's throw something original in there. Why not?
So you guys rhyme.
Yeah.
So when you were a little kid, she'd say, I'm Sharon, this is my baby Aharon.
Yeah, and then I have an aunt whose name is Karen.
Okay, so I'm thinking of a good Sturdivant nickname for Aharon. Once again, you spell it Aharon.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like the first part of that. I'm going to call you Aha.
Aha.
As in, I got to figure it out. So, Aha. You ready to roll with us?
Oh, man, you know it.
Now, before we get started, before we start talking about this cool little tech tool called Flipgrid, I've got to have you describe yourself geez, this would be 13 years from now.
13, ooh.
At your 10-year high school reunion, where are you going to be living?
I'm going to be living right here, man. This is my hometown, Sunbury. I ain't going anywhere.
Central High boy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be married?
Hopefully, yeah.
Now, you're not going to be living in your mom's basement, right?
Again, hopefully, yeah.
You said living right here, man. All right, how about professionally? What are you going to be doing?
Professionally, I actually hope I'm doing something similar to this audio and video stuff.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue. But before I get into that question, let me just say something. You notice how I asked about your relationship and where you're living before I asked about yourself professionally.
Mm-hmm.
That's because those things are more important, my man.
Yeah.
All right, so check this out. I love that question. I love that statement you just made because it goes right into my next question. You approached me about doing this podcast, which I had great respect for. It showed a lot of chutzpah. Mm-hmm. So if a kid's going to come up and say, Oosterdman, let me do a podcast with you, there's no way you're not going to do a podcast with me. But what was it that made you do that?
It's the conversation. I love the conversation so much. With two people put in front of a microphone can actually create. Like you can go on and on about like, oh yeah, my grocery list contained this and for this reason. And
I have to lay something on the audience here, and Aaron thinks highly of this. We actually recorded this on Friday, but I was not satisfied with the microphone setting, and neither was he.
No.
So we had to redo it because we're just a bunch of nerds, aren't we?
Oh, dude, you know it.
Okay, so you're talking about podcasting. You listen to podcasts?
I do listen to podcasts every once in a while. There are a few of like the people on YouTube that I usually watch who have podcasts, and I like to tune in every once in a while and like do homework or something like that.
Sure.
While listening along.
Could you see yourself creating a podcast someday?
Oh yeah, definitely. I really like this whole conversation aspect, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And especially with like a couple of my friends. Oh man, I'll have a whale of a time.
Well, this is something that you have to put the link to this episode on your resume someday.
Oh yeah.
Back when 30 years from now, they'll say, back in the day when I was on Sturgeon's podcast. That's beautiful.
I'm famous now. Don't you know? I get free food here.
That's right. So we're talking about this tool called a Flipgrid, which I'm going to let you talk about. I'm not going to ask you whether you like it or dislike it. We're objective reviewers here.
Okay.
But what was your initial experience with it?
When you first introduced it, I kind of had this reaction that I was like, oh, great. Now we're going to have to make videos about us talking now? Like, great. This is going to be fun. He says sarcastically, by the way.
Did you feel like it was another thing you'd have to figure out?
Yeah, and I thought it was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to have like another hard time with this website because teachers, especially in high school, are like, oh, well, this website has one good quality, so we're going to use it for the rest of the year. Right. And it's like extremely broken, and it just doesn't even work.
Do you find yourself, A, trying to figure websites out a lot, B, trying to get them to work a lot, and C, getting tremendously frustrated as a result?
How about D, all the above?
How did we use Flipgrid in class? Do you remember?
We used it the first time when you were introducing it to us. We were supposed to record us asking you personally a question.
Time out. Did you think that was a great way to introduce it?
I actually did, yeah.
So in other words, just do something silly.
Yeah, just do something a little fun. Why not?
Right. So in other words, don't lay this big heavy assignment on them.
Yeah.
Have them go out in the hall and just try it on their own.
Yeah, something lighthearted, not too difficult, nothing like that.
What was your question?
I had trouble finding a question. I was sitting against some of the lockers. You turned around the corner and you saw me confused. And you were like, hey, I got a great question for you, man. And I'm like, oh, what's that? He's like, blondes or brunettes?
You know what? Number one, I've never seen you at a loss for words. And number two, that's one of the weird questions that I ask people all the time. And it could go toward the male or towards a female. So let me ask you this. Are you more inclined to blondes or brunettes?
Depends on the personality, man.
That's a wonderful answer. Ask me.
Blondes or brunettes?
Brunettes. What's up with that, man? I'm more shallow than you are. Okay, so then how did we use it after the initial test run?
After we used it the first time, I believe you gave us like this question that was like, would you like to Like work for a boss, or would you rather be the boss?
It was describing your ideal work environment.
Yeah, something along the lines of that.
But not only did you do that in class, but then you also had a student of mine from another class come and interview you on, do you know a Muslim? Is Islam a religion of peace?
Yeah. That was my brother, I believe. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have Rockwells, a plethora of Rockwells all day long.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because when I'm a junior, you're gonna actually you might have my little brother Liam, and then when he's a junior, you might have my little sister Ellie.
I'll be getting kind of old by then, man.
Dude, I already had to deal with 2 Rockwells. I can't have another one. I'm out.
That's right. So, in other words, we use this for you folks to express yourself, just in a simplistic way, in a creative way. How does this little tool help you do that? How did it help for you to express yourself?
Let me start off by saying that I know in middle school and kind of below, we have these sort of layers like a cake, where it's of like popularity or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I know it mostly deteriorates. I don't even know how to say that word, but
You said it right.
Yeah. It sort of like fades away when you're in high school, but I know it sort of does carry over when you're a freshman. Mm-hmm. And I know when I'm in your class, there's a lot of people up there that are just really high up on the cake compared to me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so like I kind of find myself reserved, believe it or not, in your class. So us using Flipgrid, which I really like, by the way, because I'm a guy who really likes cameras and like audio and visuals, that kind of stuff like that. And I like messing around with it, see what I can actually create with it. Me having the freedom to like express myself in video format made me so much more comfortable than me giving like a boring presentation with a bunch of Google Slides sitting in front of the class.
And you don't have long to do it, do you? How much time?
Oh no, it only gives you like 90 seconds, I believe, or something.
90 seconds. You got to get the point across in 90 seconds.
Yeah. So it can be like, okay, we don't have to drag on for like 3 or 4 minutes. It's just got to go boom, 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 boom.
And I'll tell you what else I like about it is the fact that it's so easy.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can delete it if you don't like it. Mm-hmm. And then you have to take a selfie of yourself or whoever you're interviewing afterwards. Beautiful. Now, I want you just to reach out to somebody. Reach out to a teacher. This is a chance for you to flip the switch, flip the perspective. Mr. Sturdivant and all my listeners, we're sitting in your class right now, and you're going to give us a little advice on how to use Flipgrid. Go.
Advice to another teacher?
Yeah.
All right. So advice? Like we were talking about earlier, give something lighthearted. Don't throw a big old presentation on them right in the beginning.
Right.
Make it something fun, like make some sort of puzzle out of questions, or like make it so like what you did, which was like make the kids ask the teacher a question that they've been wondering for the entirety of the school year so far. Yeah, something like that. Don't make it too difficult when you start it. The website's very easy for you to actually like log in and stuff like that, because the first thing it'll tell you is, hey, if you have a class code and you want to join a class, it's right up here. Dude, just type it in right there.
Right.
And then it'll give you the like other tabs. It's just like, okay, sign in here if you're a teacher, sign it, that kind of stuff. And I really like that aspect too, because I do find myself struggling, like, where's the login thing? Yeah.
So no problem on this one.
No problem at all. No, not at all.
So start kind of small. Maybe just do like a question.
Yeah.
A basic question, just a fun question. And then build from there.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Rockwell. You've had some time here to digest this. And once again, I am not invested in Flipgrid. I do not own stock in Flipgrid. I am not on Flipgrid's payroll. But would you give that a thumbs up?
Oh, dude. Definitely, 100%.
Now, what's going on after this interview?
Man, I'm going out here, and I got $20. I'm going to Wendy's.
Going to Wendy's. What you getting at Wendy's?
Dude, I'm getting a big old Baconator with some nice fries on the side, maybe a nice...
And mind you, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, so you're going to eat dinner at about 2 hours after that, right?
Yeah, man.
So this is just the beginning of your caloric consumption for the night.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Thanks so much, for coming in.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So we are at the What You Can Do Tomorrow section. Boy, I'll tell you what, kids like Aharon make the job magical. It makes me never want to retire when I interact with a young guy like him. He's just so much So much energy and joy he brings to the classroom. Love Aharon. So glad he came in. Glad I'm talking to the original sources again. And today we're talking about Flipgrid, and there's just a couple things you need to do. First of all, I really encourage you to go to my show notes and watch an example of a Flipgrid. I have 2 of them there. One, I have the kids asking me a question where they're just getting accustomed to using the tool. And then the second one is where my students go out and they actually interview someone and they ask them 2 questions. Number 1, do you know a Muslim? And number 2, is Islam a religion of peace? And this interview was awesome because it put the kids into the mindset that a lot of people who have really strong views about Muslims don't know any Muslims. And it was a perfect segue into some of the topics that we discussed in the unit. So what I would do tomorrow is just get used to Flipgrid. Try it with a friend. Try it with a family member. Just get accustomed to it. Try it yourself and just get used to recording yourself and then posting it on there. I learned Flipgrid in about 15 minutes. There really wasn't much to it, and there's some great tutorial videos. The next thing you want to do is you want to create a basic question for class, and please feel free to steal mine. I had my students ask me a question that they'd always wondered about me. Of course, I got a lot of questions. When did you start shaving your head? I got that question a lot. But what I did is I sent them out into the school, and I gave them just 5 minutes to go somewhere in the school, ask a question of me, and then we came in and watched them, and the students got a big kick out of seeing themselves up there and listening to their peers. The next thing I'd like you to do is to build in an interview prompt. This will really put your introverts at ease because they get to go out and they get to talk to somebody else. It's a great way to measure prevailing attitudes in a community. Hey, Flipgrid is just a fun little tool that you can use. It's easy to master, and it gives kids a wonderful opportunity to express themselves in creative ways. So give it a try, man. Good luck tomorrow engaging your kids.
Show notes for this episode can be found at jamesallensturnevant.com. If you enjoy Hacking Engagement, please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes.